CBS 8 viewers say they just don't trust SDG&E. They think they're being cheated. What do you have to say to that?
I understand their frustration, and quite frankly, we could have done a better job at preparing and educating our customers.
Next, a top SDG&E executive answers your questions about higher electric bills.
All the way from the East County, we're tracking this winter storm's impact on businesses and visitors.
So dinner for four, under 20 bucks. We knocked it out of the park this time with some lemon chicken, mashed potatoes, and oven roasted broccoli.
And we're in Alpine to take a deep dive in a nuclear submarine.
And the party's over for a woman accused of stealing a party bus from Pacific Beach and leading a chase all the way through LA County. CBS 8 News, live at 6, starts now.
It is a good night to be indoors and warm as the rain moves in and the temperatures drop. Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Marcella Lee.
I'm Jesse Pagan in for Carlo Cicchetto. The rain is coming down closer to the coast, but if you're farther east, you're seeing snow. CBS 8's Heather Hope will take us there in just a minute.
First, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Carlene Chavis with what's going on out there right now. Carlene?
Well, we're seeing more of the showers moving onshore, and that's going to be the case as we go into tonight. So the bulk of the moisture hasn't even impacted yet. The most widespread and heaviest activity is expected tonight through tomorrow morning. We are seeing showers across Chula Vista as well as downtown, also for Santee. Seeing some snow across the mountains. We're seeing that for Palomar Mountain that's already received an inch and a half, as well as seeing that for Mount Laguna. We do have a heavier pocket of rainfall that's starting to move in towards Palomar Mountain, and that was impacting across Fallbrook. So we're still looking at more of an influx of moisture still with the snow. Snow level is about 4,000 feet right now. It's coming down to 2,500 as we hit tomorrow morning. Also cannot rule out thunderstorms. So you saw bits of sunshine for today, and when you're talking about an upper low, that's going to add into that instability. So we are looking at a chance for thunderstorms overnight. Some of those cells could produce some downpours as well as lightning and small hail. Seeing that for Chula Vista in the early morning hours, so if you're trying to sleep, a little rumbles out there. Also, you'll continue to see the snow across the mountains into tomorrow morning at 8:15 before everything starts to clear out as we go into tomorrow afternoon. Well, we decided to have Heather go out there, so let's head out to the East County where rain, sleet, and snow, well, that's part of the game as we go with this winter storm system, and Heather Hope was live with our coverage earlier this evening.
Carlene, it's lighter rain out here in Ramona now compared to the heavier stuff we saw earlier today, and much more sleet and rain up in the mountain community in Julian. It's with the slippery and treacherous road conditions that CHP want drivers to know about. High winds and rain-slick roads are not stopping visitors from driving to the mountains.
It draws people up to Julian. Everyone's excited to see the snow, so people do come up just to experience that.
Mom's Pie House on Julian's Main Street saw an uptick in customers, many coming for an apple boysenberry crumb slice.
With the bad weather, it makes it a little more difficult to get up here, but I mean, if you have four-wheel drive, you're pretty set. From
off and on again rain in Ramona to Santa Isabel and Alpine, the message from the California Highway Patrol for driver safety is to always take it slow.
Particularly out east, we're thinking Alpine East is where we're going to probably get some snowfall tonight. Those overcrossings can ice up. That's where we see a lot of vehicles slide off the roadway just because of their speeds. So anything east of Alpine, if we got snow coming on, snow happening out there, please slow down. Make sure your vehicles are equipped the way they need to be.
Dressing warm for the weather is a must.
I've got kind of a thick cotton shirt under, and this leather jacket is just the outer shell.
The Hamilton family loaded their two Siberian Huskies, Lilo and Lexi, in their SUV to see the Julian snow.
I think it's really nice. You know, we came up here from Arizona, Yuma, and we expected to play in the snow, and it's barely snowing.
The Allen boys from Oceanside are enjoying their winter break week off from school.
I think it's cool. It's actually my first time seeing snowfall.
It's super special.
Braving the stormy elements to shop in town, the Allen family says they'll make it a quick day trip.
We're probably going to go before we get stuck in it because it's going to get pretty bad.
Again, CHP definitely warning drivers to take it slow as we're expected to see much more rainy weather tonight. Heather Hope, CBS 8.
For weeks now, we've been covering your stories about high SDG&E bills and working for you to get answers. Throughout, we've asked the company several times to sit down with us for an interview.
Today, for the first time since we started our Amped Up series, they did. CBS 8's Shannon Handy sat down one-on-one with an SDG&E executive late this afternoon. Shannon, finally some answers to questions we've been asking on behalf of our viewers.
Yeah, Marcella, it's been a long time coming. I spoke with Scott Kreider. He's the Senior Vice President of Customer Services and External Affairs. We talked for about 30 minutes, covering everything from why our bills are so high to the infrastructure projects being done that SDG&E makes money on. Take a listen. CBS 8 viewers are upset, they're frustrated, they're angry. Why are we paying the highest rates in the country?
Well, Shannon, let me first start off by saying that, we've heard loud and clear from our customers that they're frustrated right now. We've talked to thousands of them over the last couple of weeks, and we recognize this is a really difficult time, but we want them to know that we are taking action.
What action are you taking?
Shannon, there's a couple of things that we're looking at right now. Number one is that we are going to be pursuing legislation this year to help remove some of the energy programs out of the energy bill and over to the state. We think this is a common sense approach where we could provide some fast relief, to our customers while still maintaining those important energy programs. Number two is, we're talking to legislators and regulators about the need for comprehensive electric rate reform. The way that we're pricing electricity today is not going to be really in line with where we need to go as a region as we start to see more electric vehicles, less natural gas use in the home, and more electricity usage. We really need to modernize our rates here in the state of California to make sure that we're maintaining affordability while at the same time continuing to invest in the grid to make sure it's reliable and ultimately clean.
Do you ever see these bills going down?
That's certainly our hope. We'd love to see bills go down, but the challenge is, what I just laid out is, we need this massive transformation of the grid in order to start building more climate resiliency in. Now, one thing that's going to be helpful, years down the road is, as we add more electric vehicles, as we add more, electricity use in homes and buildings, as we see that electricity use grow, there is the potential that, we could see some stabilization down the road because as we're using more electricity, we have more sales in order to pay for that infrastructure.
Do we really need all these projects, or is it just about making money for SDG&E?
It's not just about making money. And we've always acknowledged that we have higher rates, than other parts of the state here. But, here's what our customers are getting for their money. Is number one, we're the most reliable utility in the nation last year and the most reliable utility 16 years in a row for the Western United States.
In layman's terms, can you explain to people why are we paying so much outside of gas and electricity?
There's a couple of key drivers. One, the price of natural gas has risen globally. It's kind of like gasoline, where it's really a global price, and we've seen coming out of the pandemic, and we've seen these inflationary pressures on other commodities. Well, the same thing is happening to natural gas right now, and so what we saw in January is prices were about 25% higher than January of 2021. And then you couple that with the coldest December that San Diego had experienced in 5 to 10 years and a colder than usual January. So this combination of higher natural gas prices coupled with colder than usual temperatures where customers are using more heat, for their homes and natural gas to heat their homes, that is a primary driver of why customers experienced higher than normal bills this time of year.
CBS 8 viewers say they just don't trust SDG&E. They think they're being cheated. What do you have to say to that?
Well, again, I understand their frustration right now. Anytime that you get an unexpectedly large bill, we've heard from thousands of our customers, so I understand their frustration. And quite frankly, we could have done a better job at preparing and educating our customers, and I take personal responsibility for that. That's something that we're going to continue to learn from, and we're going to do better really going forward.
Now, again, what you saw is just a small portion of today's interview. If you'd like to watch it in its entirety, we have it up on CBS8.com.
You spoke back and forth for about 30 minutes, a lot of tough questions. People really wanting to know, and he admitted it himself, thousands of customers coming forward wanting to know why it seems sudden, why it seems so sudden, the 100%, 200%, 300%, the $1,000. That we did help some people find answers to their issues, but for a lot of people, they still don't know why.
Right, and he said, he acknowledged, he said, look, I take responsibility. We should have educated people more, because the reality is they knew that this natural gas shortage, or this price in natural gas, was coming. And I just don't think they communicated it clearly with people. And that really is the big driver of these bills. It's not how much electricity or gas you use, it's the natural gas which goes into generating that electricity. That's a huge chunk of it. Plus there's all these state programs, the Wildfire Relief Fund. There's several other fees which we've done a lot of stories on that are on there that are state mandated, and apparently SDG&E is trying to get those fees reduced, but that's not an immediate fix. That's not going to happen tomorrow.
Now, as we've been covering this story for weeks now in our Amped Up series, Shannon, we've reached out several times. Can we talk with someone? Why did they say yes today?
So I asked that question, and I will say they kind of skirted around the answer. He said basically that they had other ways of communicating with its customers, that they talked to them on the phone, and finally they were deciding to sit down with us. I never really got a straight answer, but I really think it had to do with the fact that we've been hitting them so hard and asking lots of questions.
The public pressure, our stories have been shared countless times on social media. People are angry and they want answers.
Yeah, exactly. So it finally worked, and we'll keep pushing, because this issue isn't going away just because we sat down and did an interview. So I would recommend people watch the whole thing, because again, it's really hard to get a 30-minute interview in a 4-minute clip like you guys saw, but we want to be transparent, so please watch the whole thing on CBS8.com.
Thanks for asking
all
all the hard
Shannon
questions.
Handy, continuing our Amped Up coverage for weeks now. Shannon, good work. Thank you. Meantime, you can text the word AMPed to 858-571-8888 to see more of that Amped Up coverage we're talking about, or to give your feedback to SDG&E. An 18-year-old man is accused of beating his grandmother to death with a baseball bat in the South Bay. Chula Vista police say Adrian Gutierrez locked himself in a bedroom and armed himself with a knife when they got to the home on Melrose Avenue early this morning. After a short standoff, they arrested Gutierrez. They then found his grandmother, 62-year-old Diana Diaz, in another bedroom. She was later pronounced dead at the hospital. Detectives are still trying to figure out what led to the attack. They say Gutierrez has suffered from mental health issues in the past.
A police chase involving a party bus from Pacific Beach ended in a crash north of Los Angeles today, and it was all caught on camera.
CBS 8's David Gofferton talked with the owner of the party bus company, who says she was in the middle of picking someone up, their driver was, when it all went down.
The party bus, owned by Top Dog Limo Bus in Pacific Beach, was stolen along Morena Boulevard Tuesday morning.
My driver went to go pick up the clients, and somebody jumped into the bus and stole the bus.
Police didn't locate it until it reached Los Angeles, according to the party bus owner, Susie Lightsky.
An hour and a half later, we received a call from somebody that was on the 405 going north in Long Beach, making a complaint, and we called dispatch at the same time.
The driver who spotted it on the freeway complained that the party bus was driving erratically and stayed on the phone with police until CHP officers caught up with the limo bus around noon on State Route 14 south of Palmdale. Officers tried to use a spike strip at one point, but the driver continued and exited on Pearl Blossom Highway, where the party bus rear-ended another car.
Whoa!
By that time, the owner of the party bus company in Pacific Beach was watching the chase live on her cell phone. CBS 8 caught up with her about an hour later. And you saw the collision. I mean, what do you think about that?
I'm very shocked and going through a lot of emotions right now.
Talk about how the driver's doing.
He's doing okay. He still did the other job because we got another bus for him, so he was able to do the job, and he's doing fine.
The female driver exited the party bus and surrendered to police. The driver of the vehicle she rear-ended was able to exit the car and was transported to the hospital. The company owner says she's grateful to the driver who spotted the bus and called it in.
I do want to thank the person that did call in the complaint, that followed the bus, the dispatchers and the police for helping us and moving this along.
Now, in August of last year, a San Marcos woman was killed when she fell out of the back door of a party bus owned by this same company. Totally unrelated case, but a lawsuit is still pending in that incident.
David, returning back to this case, gosh, that video was just harrowing, and it is fortunate that that Good Samaritan did call police and followed the bus. I want to know, was anyone else on that bus during the chase?
No, nobody else, just the driver, and so far the driver has not been publicly identified, but it does appear to be a crime of opportunity. The driver of the bus stepped out briefly, and the woman stepped in and took off.
All right, well, glad no one was hurt. Thanks so much for that report, David.